So I'm glad to be back here. Today I would like to speak today on the rain garden proposed at London and 19th Street in the West End. I am not opposed to rain gardens, but I strongly believe that this location is inappropriate for a rain garden for several reasons. First of all, London Street is a very narrow street, and with the potential cycling route changes and the potential loss to some parking spots, adding a rain garden at this location is not appropriate or equitable to London Street. It would further create narrowing of the street and may impact safety for cars, cyclists, and pedestrians. My elderly parents, aged 88 and 83, both have mobility challenges, and they require a handicapped parking type of stall in front of my house to get out of their car and get onto the sidewalk. Currently, they can safely navigate their way to the corner to get onto that sidewalk. With this proposed rain garden in place, they would have to use their walkers and go around the rain garden onto the road, navigating cars and cyclists to get safely to the sidewalk. The rain garden would create a huge safety concern for my elderly parents. There is a large mature boulevard tree that would be right next to this proposed rain garden. The leaves on this mature boulevard tree do not decompose like normal leaves. They stay around for years. During the fall months, when there is consistent rain and the leaves are falling off the tree, I go out and I make sure those leaves do not block the current rain catch basin. I do this on a daily basis. Otherwise, there's rainwater overflow. The proposed rain garden will be consistently full of leaves. I understand the rain garden would have a lower indent in the middle where the center catch basin will be located. Who will be responsible to climb into this rain garden every day to clear those leaves? I certainly will not be risking a slip or a fall injury to do this. Last week, I met with Amir, the project manager, Kwaku, the deputy director in engineering, Lacey in the transportation, I believe she's a transportation engineer, regarding this proposed rain garden and possible alternative locations and solutions for a couple of issues that were addressed. First, the issue of having to remove a mature tree to accommodate this rain garden at another location. My solution for this is that 1 or 2 new trees could be planted to replace that mature tree. Hence, this would increase the city's tree canopy. The second issue raised was the potential need to move an underground line at another location to accommodate a rain garden. If this needs to be done, then it should be done. London Street is facing a high degree of changes with the cycling route, and we should not have to accommodate a rain garden on top of that. In summary, my ask to City Council today is clear. Please move the proposed rain garden at London and 19th Street over to Dublin Street, which is a wider street and is not impacted with the cycling route changes. Dublin Street can sustain a rain garden with better safety for cars, cyclists, and pedestrians. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your delegation. That was good for being 30 years out of practice. Good today. Excellent job. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we've heard feedback about the rain gardens, and I wish we weren't calling them that, to be honest, because I think that it is a major piece of infrastructure, and to the director's point, we've our federal funding, we received millions of dollars of federal funding to support that project was contingent on us building some green wastewater management infrastructure as part of those plans. And you know, the pipes are old, and we needed to get that done. I would suggest that you work with staff, but it sounds like you already have, and it also sounds like this is kind of a done deal. So I'm kind of at a loss of what to suggest here. In terms of accessibility, though, for your parents, we do have a process through the city that allows you to request an accessibility parking spot to be installed on a road in front of, you know, a home where people have an accessibility pass. So I don't know if that's an avenue that's available, but maybe the director of engineering could follow up with you for that. Yeah.
May I speak? So I think the parking bylaw is very clear. That's a separate issue. My issue is with the location of this rain garden and the impact of this rain garden along with the cycling route impact on London Street. I'm not requesting that this rain garden just be moved over to the next block on Dublin. On Dublin Street, there are no proposed rain gardens for many blocks. So my question to the staff is, why can't this particular rain garden be moved over to Dublin Street, which is a wider street, which can sustain a rain garden and not be impacted by a cycling route? There's many blocks. I'm wondering if staff could find a corner, a location on any of those blocks on Dublin Street where there is minimal impact to the existing underground infrastructure so that there's not a lot of extra cost to moving this rain garden. So that's my request, and I'm wondering if that can happen. The setback, the parking setback of 6 meters, which is about 18 to 20 feet, is known. Everyone should know that. And my feedback to the staff last week when I met with them, if it is an issue in the West End or anywhere in Westminster for that matter, that people are parking too close to a stop sign or a fire hydrant or the end of a street, then first action should be to issue a fine. Second action could be to go to creating more of these bump outs that prevent someone from parking in that space. So my concern is, why are we going to building these bump outs and adding a rain garden, kind of doing two things, rather than in the West End issuing parking tickets? I have lived in the West End for 23 years now. I've been a resident of New Westminster since 1969, pretty much my whole life. And I have issue with creating a bump out and a rain garden on a street that is being impacted with the cycling route. So that is my issue, and I press upon this council to support me in helping the staff find another location somewhere else on Dublin Street or another street in the West End to satisfy the 24 number of rain gardens that must be installed. I understand it is not too late. The work on this rain garden at London and 19th Street has not commenced. So this delegation is very, very important. This is timely, and I press upon you guys to support me. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Fontaine?
Well, I do support, first of all, thank you for coming out tonight. We've had an opportunity to chat about this prior, so I do appreciate you coming to delegate. And I hear you on a number of fronts, and I'm going to ask a few questions because I'd like to get some clarity on this, because I have heard this issue around the operational cost of the rain gardens. So there's one thing to build them, then there's another thing to maintain them and to actually keep them clean. And the latter part is, as a person sitting on the Board of Governors, I'm concerned about the cost around that. And we've already been told, I believe in this council, we don't know yet what the operational costs are going to be regarding that. So my concern about this particular one, because I've had a chance to take a look at it, and I didn't realize the leaves didn't decompose as quickly. I know there are a number of trees that is the case. So I'm just going to ask staff, when we picked this particular site, was there an arborist report, or was there any analysis done around the physical layout of trees and the potential plugging up of this particular site? And were other sites potentially available to us that we could have put in that would have potentially reduced the operating costs of maintaining this rain garden moving forward?
I would direct that, I'm not sure, to the Director of Engineering.
So through the chair, a number of factors went into selecting the 24 locations in the West End for rain gardens, including above ground and below ground infrastructure and potential conflicts, the grade of the various roads, the space available to construct this drainage infrastructure. In terms of the maintenance costs associated with maintaining rain gardens, there are costs associated with maintaining conventional or historic drainage infrastructure, and there are costs associated with maintaining green infrastructure. At the end of the day, there are different approaches and each have costs associated with them. With respect to these 24 pieces of infrastructure being installed as part of the West End Utilities project, we have a maintenance contract whereby a contractor will cover the maintenance for the first 2 years following construction, and then maintenance hands over to our operations and our parks and recreation staff to carry on from there. So this was factored into the overall cost of the project and the ongoing maintenance and operations of it.
Thank you for that clarity through the chair. So just to clarify then, that the maintenance crew will come out on a frequent basis to clean this, and that the homeowner will not be responsible for removing it if the leaves plug up the drain?
Correct, yes, that's my understanding.
And then how many, I know we've talked about parking spots. I know some are official, some are unofficial, some are, I guess, technically illegal because they're too close. The installation of this particular rain garden, how many parking spots, and notwithstanding the fact that some may be too close, but how many cars typically park in that area that will no longer be parking there?
Typically now there can be 2 cars safely parked in front of my house and still leaving that 6 meter from the edge of the street.
Right.
So 2 cars. So now there will be 1 car available.
So
So 1 parking spot will be lost.
one will be lost. Okay, one is lost.
Considered.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and then last question is just perhaps just to build on Councillor Henderson's comment. So I just wanted, just for clarity for the delegate, just to confirm, is there any possibility, any movement, any opportunity for this to be moved outside of this particular location, or is this in fact a done deal, as was noted earlier?
Director of Engineering.
Through the chair, yes, this project began construction today with initiation of the catch basin installation and the drainage line.
May I speak to that? My understanding is that the work for the rain garden at London and 19th did not start today. It is going to start with the outcome of this meeting. It was supposed to start this morning, but it has not started. And so that's why I'm here, asking council for support to have this rain garden moved somewhere else.
Is that something staff told you would happen, that you'd be able to come to council and change an engineering design?
No.
I'm trying to understand how you got that impression, because it seems to me if there's a project under construction right now, if you were told by staff that you can come to council and they can change the design, I'm concerned about that.
No. My understanding was that I can come to council for support in asking council to make a decision to have this rain garden moved somewhere else.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Councillor Fontaine, it's your floor.
Yeah, and I just to perhaps the clerk, just for clarity for everyone who's watching. So just to clarify that, or perhaps it's the mayor that wants to respond. We cannot, even if we wanted to tonight, if I wanted to move a motion or Councilman asked, we're not permitted. I just want to clarify, we can't even stop this because we're not allowed to bring a motion forward tonight. That would have to be something we could put as an emergency motion, which would come, but it likely will happen after the project has started. So that's why, as you saw earlier, to get it on the agenda allows it for a discussion. But because you're delegating, we're unfortunately, I mean, we could try, but there's a very low likelihood that it would be adopted tonight. So, but thank you.
I might have made an assumption to that.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you for your delegation. I'll just say, this council can't design engineering infrastructure in that sense, in the sense that, and we have had a lot of discussions around this council about rain gardens and about West End drainage systems, and it's been made clear to the council numerous times that location is paramount for these infrastructure. We are required to install these as part of the federal regulations, and the way that the federal government has designated the way we have to manage stormwater management now. We're required to install them, and they're put in locations based on technical requirements around, just like the way we can't designate what size of pipe goes in the ground or what color, you know, that those are designated by the engineering needs of the drainage system. That said, there have been some other rain garden locations in the West End where staff have been able to change the geometry a little bit, or you know, if there is a specific accommodation issue around accessibility or something like that, where they have been able to make some minor adjustments in order to support that. So I would suggest that you continue to contact staff with specific requirements that might make it easier for this to fit into the area in front of your house. It doesn't sound like it's taking away parking spots. It sounds like it's sort of it's expanding out the unparked area. But again, the clarity of that was something that you have to work out with staff. So there may be an opportunity, and I just ask that maybe staff follow up once again and come up with, like, if there is any opportunity to change the geometry or to make it work better, that's probably might be on the table, but but again, that's technical information that engineers have to answer that we can't answer as a council. So
my request to have it moved somewhere else at a different location, that is what I would like done.
Okay, we've heard that, and I think you have to have a chat with the engineers about the possibilities of that happening. Okay, so thank you for your delegation.